This week, unless you've been living under a rock, has been a challenging week for our world, really. On top of everything else that's going on this week, as you're well aware, if you're on social media, if you have a TV, if you have a device of anything, if you have friends, so appropriate that we sang that you make the darkness tremble, because there's a lot of darkness in our world that is getting highlighted right now. This week, the death of the unarmed black man, George Floyd, by a white police officer who ignored his pleas that he couldn't breathe, has sparked a fire in America, both figuratively and literally. And when your neighbor's house, our neighbor to the south, when their house is on fire, we don't just pretend it's not there, we don't ignore it. And what began as protest to this killing has descended into violence and looting, and is indeed a scary time in those cities all across America, pretty much every major city. But before we judge those who are protesting in this way, before we judge them too harshly, let's take a step back for a moment. That rioting usually comes when people have not been heard, have been pushed, have been shoved, have been marginalized, have been persecuted, and even killed. And they see no other recourse. Does that make it good and right to riot and burn your city down? No. Does it justify hurting others? No. But perhaps, just perhaps, we can try to understand the rage and the grief that might drive someone to do so. Let me also say that not every police officer is a racist. We have many great police officers in our community. And I know why they serve. They serve because they love our city, they love our community, and they do it to make a difference and to help us all be safe. That's why they do what they do. It doesn't mean there aren't some that are racist, the same as there are in every profession, unfortunately. And you might be thinking, Craig, why are you talking about this? Why don't you just talk about church things? Well, I actually believe that this is a church thing. I believe that the church is meant to be a voice in our culture, and we've too often let ourselves be marginalized by being silent on things that are important, by being disengaged, by not being involved in our city. And we love our city. We love our nation. We love people. And someone might say to me, "Oh, that you're a pastor of a multicultural church. Why it's not an issue for your church?" And I hope it's not. I hope it's not. But even more so, when I see some of the things that I've seen, I picture my friends. I picture some of you. I picture our neighbors. I picture and think, what would it be like to be living in the middle of all that? And I think we kid ourselves if we make this an American problem or some other place problem. I was talking with one of my friends who happens to be black, and he lives here in our city, and he told me that he's grown up in Canada, and he has experienced racism overtly and covertly in every way, multiple times. Had guns pulled on him by the police, and racism in various forms and ways. And I grew up in a pretty white area of the province. I would say probably the high 95% of what I grew up with was Caucasians, and I don't ever recall ever in my life experiencing the sting of racism at all. And so my experience does not lend itself to easily understand it. And so this week I reached out to some of my friends and just talked to them and expressed my support for them. And this one that I talked about said that, within the last month, his teenage nephew was walking to the corner store just to get some candy or something like that. And along the way, a 20-something year-old white male kind of accosted him and did the slash sign and called him the N-word. And that's not in Alabama, that's not in Tennessee, that's in Clayton Heights. And talk to others that talk about how to teach their kids how to act and what to wear and what not to say and how to look so that they don't get in trouble with the police. And I'm not talking about lawlessness, I'm just talking about living. And racism is not okay. It's sin. It's demonic. Every man and woman, whatever their color, whatever their racial background, whatever their sexual preference, whatever issue that they have in their life, is always worthy of respect and is always worthy of love. They're created in the image of God. Racist jokes are not okay. Mocking a different language is not okay. Perpetuating racial stereotypes that divide us is not okay. Making fun of another person's cultural clothing is not okay. In fact, the apostle and early church leader John wrote this in 1 John 4:19. He said, "We love because he first loved us." He's talking to followers of Christ. We love because he first loved us. God first loved us, and out of his love, we love others. We love our friends. We love our neighbors. We even are called to love our enemies. And he goes on to say, "Whoever claims to love God yet hates his brother or sister is a liar." Is a liar. He didn't say, "Hey, that's not good." He said, "is a liar." And when there's hate in our heart in any space or place for other people, we say we're a follower of Jesus, we are lying. We are lying to ourselves, and we're lying to God. Whoever does not love their brother or sister whom they have seen cannot love God whom they have not seen. But we do not overcome evil with more evil. We overcome evil with good. The light shines in the darkness. The hope shines in the middle of all this chaos. Hate can't stamp out hate. Only love can do that. That's why we're called to love. We're called to be people who are aware. We're called to be people that are active in our love, not passive, but active in our love. I'm by nature not a person that is verbally expressive of my love for my wife. It's something I've had to learn to grow in. I kind of feel like she knows it. But in the absence, in the silence sometimes, a message can be sent perhaps that I don't care or that I don't love or I'm not standing with or I'm not for her. And in a similar way, we cannot just stand by and be quiet. We don't have to always know what to say, but we can say, much as we know, is to say, "I'm sorry that this is going on. I'm standing with, I am for." And we pray for peace and reconciliation and the end of violence and destruction. We stand with those who are victimized. We stand with the oppressed. We stand, though, against the real enemy, the devil that is behind us, because we do not wrestle against flesh and blood. No matter the color of skin, no matter what people they are not our enemy. There's an enemy that is stoking this fire, and he is the one that loves to steal, that loves to kill, and loves to destroy. And we hear the ancient prophet Jeremiah reminding us, "Seek the peace and the prosperity of the city where you live. For pray to the Lord for it, because if it prospers, you will prosper." We are literally in this together. And he didn't say, just pray for the people that you like or the people you agree with or the people that think like you. He said, pray for the city where you live. And we're going to, in a moment, take some time and we're going to pray. We're going to pray for the city where we live. We're going to pray for our nation, our friends to the south. We're going to pray for ourselves. I think, "Search me, O God, and see if there be any wicked way in me." Search me, O God, because I'm not the best judge of myself. I'm not the best arbiter of how I look at things. Search me, O God. Is there anything in me that would put myself above other people? Is there anything in me that looks down on somebody because of where they come or the language they speak or the color of their skin? Is there anything in me, O God? Search me, O God, and know me. It's not somebody else's problem only. It's not America's problem only. It's not just a societal problem. It's an us problem. It's an us problem. Search me.